I am suing the University of California, specifically the Regents. A little background. I am a student at UC Irvine, studying abroad in Japan through UCEAP at Keio University. And this all started with the financial aid and billing problem involving around $950. Now, before you say, dude, you should just paid your bill. Hear me out. The bill was supposed to pay myself because I had aid or a scholarship for the exact specific line item that this charge alleges I owed that they already managed into my account and pay out either to themselves or me through my aid. It makes no sense. So basically, I was studying through UCEAP at Keio University before this problem even arose. I had already been experiencing um, some serious issues with my housing that they provided at Keio University through this program that they approved. And I repeatedly reported that I did not have any usable hot water, and it was like that for months. So I became sick, I became smelly, and I can't tell you what freezing showers kind of does to you in pretty much freezing weather while you're trying to do anything. It's just like messes you up. Not just because I became sick a few times, but like psychologically, it was like almost torture. So I eventually moved out. 2.5 months. They found an apartment because they wouldn't fix it. They finally did already be after I signed a lease for somewhere, and basically said, "Oh, actually, we did find a problem." After I had been complaining over and over again. And then basically say, no, don't take long showers. I'm like, no, no, no. You don't understand. I have no hot water. Oh, you don't have unlimited hot water. No, I have no hot water. Mind you, I could explain very clearly because I can already speak Japanese. Um, I'm just trying to get it to the next native level. So, this created issues to like residence card problem because I had to re-register my residence, and I was too busy with classes. Um, so I was already having problems with financial aid and UC billing in the past during previous terms. They're supposed to pay stuff out during summer session, and they didn't. And I got DSS then, and there was nothing I could do because their stupid office was closed. And they don't answer their phones because they're understaffed or something, even though the university president gave himself a raise, like a big one that could have hired more staff. They tried to do it again. It happened again during summer session too, but the office was open, and I went in and spoke to manager's supervisor, even though they told me, "Oh, you need to call." I'm like, "No, no, 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 supervisor," and he's like, "Oh," and just releases my aid right then and there. I mean, what is that? So I got back in, and they actually made me pay like a re-enrollment fee because of the last session. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was a problem that they caused that then they made me pay for it. So January 2026. Basically, that was the first term of KO. It ended. Like there was issues with like a residence card and them demanding that I get it during finals. That I couldn't study for because they had me doing all this extra stuff that I didn't need to do and I could have did later. So, um, so here I have some dates. UC EAP on January 21st notified me that I had an outstanding balance. And right before this time, I had been constantly in contact with the UCAP Tokyo Study Center, and they didn't know anything about this because the study abroad office at UC wasn't communicating with anyone. They claim they emailed me, but I didn't get any emails from the lady, Janine, who says that she was emailing me, but she's a liar. And I'll get into that in a second. Um, and they gaslighted me like over and over again. So on January 21st, they receive an outstanding balance. On January 22nd, my birthday, I was put on probation, and there was a deadline to pay by January 23rd. I didn't even check my email because it was just summer vacation. I mean, our vacation or winter break. We didn't have classes for like 2 months, and I wasn't trying to check my email every day. I'm trying to go out and see stuff. So I didn't get any of this. So I did not see this thing until the deadline. I didn't think till the 26th. And the financial aid connected to the disputed charge was not even scheduled to become available until after the deadline that they enforced anyway. So even if I had to pay it myself, there was no way I could have, and they knew it. They know I rely on my aid. So my position is that this was never simply you owed money and refused to pay. No, it depended on the financial aid that I received. And the university knew that. And they imposed these consequences before the money I relied upon was even available. So after that, I was deassessed without me even knowing it. No phone call, just emails. And it escalated rapidly. So the financial aid that I was waiting for, which is why I checked my email, because I was supposed to get it for those 2 months um, while I'm here in Japan. Um, didn't pay out and they refused to send it. Um, so I didn't have food for 2 months. It wasn't adequate. And I lost like 20 pounds, like very rapidly. And it really messed with my mental health. It just deteriorated pretty severely. And I told the university this and they didn't really reply with anything other than going through UCAP and saying, hey, we'll give you some money for food. However, you have to take a plane ticket at this date and go back. And it's like, what are you talking about? I have a lease here in Japan. I have a subleasee in Irvine at my apartment for a year and I can't kick him out. I have nowhere to go. So when I didn't take the flight back, and also too, I was disputing all of this to the administration, who later gaslighted me, saying, "Oh, you never had anything to pay for this. You were supposed to pay." I'm like, dude. I sent them the line for the scholarship, and the person reviewing it, Michael, the proctor, he kind of writ it off and still blamed me. So they're gaslighting me. He says, "Oh, you were supposed to pay it." I don't know the rationality behind it. Um, it was just this thing where they just like refused to help and they just didn't care. They just wanted to do what they wanted to do for unknown reasons. I actually, before that, called the Study Abroad Center and talked to the Janine and said, hey, listen, you're basically putting me in danger here. This is before I was starving. And she basically says, talking like, don't, if you're going to talk like that, I'm going to terminate the call. And she did. And she wouldn't pick up after that. So it was a really rough time, and it still is because Right now, I'm taking online classes and I'm still getting the aid, but I'm only getting half of it. Because before, like I said, because they pay for all my fees, the rent, the money for my aid goes to my rent. And the subleasee pays me. In June, because of my de-assessment, the housing refused to give me a sublease, saying that I had to move. Um, and since I didn't get the sublease, the guy from Italy stopped paying. I don't know if he's at the apartment or not anymore, but I'm still paying for it because they finally relented and to say, it's not right. We probably shouldn't kick him out over this. And they're still taking the rent money. But I'm not getting reimbursed by the rentee anymore. So basically, it canceled a lot of my aid out and put me in this really tough position where I only got like half of my aid because I am not getting reimbursed for my apartment. And I don't know if the person's there or not. So I don't know if when I go back, if there's going to be someone there camping saying, I have the right to be here. So I have no idea what's going to happen. And granted, I have rented bills here in Japan that I couldn't abandon because I have a lease and I'm a Japanese major, and I don't want to like get civil stuff like started or I don't want those issues to realize when I come back here to work or do whatever else or go to grad school. So, um, you know, this amongst me like cutting me off from the aid at KO and from all my classmates and my struggle with my gender, which I've got into in an which I've kind of explained in another video and struggling with that and like going on HRT to keep me sane through all this. Um, it's really caused a lot of harm. I've had physical changes, and I need more now. I need medical stability. There's housing issues. I'm caught up with most of my bills, but not all of them, and I'm really struggling with that because basically I haven't gotten my aid. So I'm out 1350 a month from this housing in Irvine that I'm not at, and I don't know if anyone's there right now, and the university is not helping. So I decided to eventually in June, I wrote the regents, and they basically said, "We're going to take this seriously. We want you to know that you're not alone, and we're going to look into this." And I sent a follow up email some weeks saying, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said it's going to take a long time. And it's like, I don't have a long time. I'm like struggling with this now, and this is a problem. And they didn't reply after that. So I did a lawsuit. And 2 weeks ago, their attorney that they retained replied asking for a 15-day extension to respond. I'm like, okay, sure. And then at the end of our conversation, he says he doesn't know what I'm asking for in my prayer for leave. Can if I could amend it, which I did, which basically resets the days for him to respond. So I'm waiting on that now. The original 15 days has already passed, but it feels like they just don't give a crap. And because they don't give a crap, they're just treating this not so nonchalantly, contrary to what they claim. So none of this exists in a vacuum. Anyone who maybe attends the UCs more or less quite regularly enjoys their time attending classes. I certainly did before this fiasco and these issues with billing. But when you look up the billing department on Google reviews or Yelp, you'll hear similar horror stories and about the University of California's inability to um, improve the problems. I mean, I don't know if it's systematic or what, but they're basically screw up over and over, then blame the students and do nothing to rectify the issues that they cause. And there's another issue with the Study Abroad Center and the person directing it, this lady Janine, and how she manages everything and gaslights people, and not doing her job, and to make doing due diligence, um, and contacting any student abroad or offering them support when they need it, or refusing to let people know there's an issue. She had helped me with something similar before. So that just adds more to the assumption that um, that this is an issue already and it's something that should be fixed, or isn't the fault of, well, myself or any other student, but they refuse to budge. And she's just kind of comes across as lazy and not doing her job. And it's very unfortunate because I was, hot water issue aside and residence card aside, I could have eventually got over that. But with this too, you know it's a problem. It's a problem, and there needs to be a class action against this because they refuse to fix the issues, and they'll do stuff like DSS people over fees that they already manage and make them pay like a re-enrollment fee. It's criminal. So anyway, I know some of my followers may have heard me speak about this a little bit. But if you've just stumbled upon this video because you've had similar problems with UC, I could just speak to UC Irvine, but when I look at the other UC's billing departments, it's the same stuff. You can't get anyone on the phone and they don't help, and it's just awful. And they blame you. Let me know in the comments. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done because it's really bad. It's really bad. And anyone else who might not believe me, like I said, check the reviews. It's not just a bunch of students complaining. It's a real thing, and it's very unfortunate because when people get into a lot of these UCs, they're very excited because it takes a lot of hard work, um, especially when it comes to what's considered public Ivy, like UC Irvine is. Um, and to have to deal with stuff like this that should already be taken care of is absolutely ridiculous. So leave a comment, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I don't have an attorney, by the way. I am doing this all by myself. So I've done lawsuits before. I've won them all because I have a good sense of, justice. But um, the University of California is big, and I can't help but to think I'm a little out of my league. However, I'm just going to do my best. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe. If you want to support me, please do. I will see you next time.